I mean, I started this mess with, bringing this thing up. But the thing that seems to be happening here is there's a serious distrust about Albrecht Inc's credibility involved in going out and getting a grocery outlet. All right?
And there's really no reason to be. We spent the last 4 years looking for grocery operators.
But
you've contacted over 19 grocery operators trying to find somebody to open and operate.
And prepared plans and invested money and time and did, put forth so much effort to find a grocery store operator.
And you get to a point where you can't materialize one out of thin air. And that's where we're at right now. I mean, regardless of the situation with the Henrettas and some type of expansion that was going to happen back at some certain point in time, I don't know all the details there with that, but I do know that Beth Henretta sent us a letter in August 2005 closing down the store.
Yes, they decided to give up because it was battling their head against the stone wall.
Well, I think
they had asked several times. Their consultants had said, look, they've got to have about 10,000 square feet.
Well, yeah,
and that's what killed the issue.
I mean, founding out in the valley is a 4,000 square foot grocery store operator.
And he asked you for 9,000 square feet when he wanted to move up to the square because he said that the square needed a larger store.
No, he told me that the 6,400 square foot floor layout could potentially work. We've done interior floor layouts that have everything sized and located in the store with all of the departments.
Again, Joe,
and
between believing your word and what the guy said to my face, I'm going to stick with Bob.
And we understand, and Mark, and we understand that there's a history here and that there may be some distrust and whatever, and we are trying to work through that. The facts that we are facing right now is that grocery operators across the board are indicating that they, without even getting to the discussions of rent and size of store, there are some problems with the desire of a grocery operator to come into Highland Square. Now, we're trying to work towards creative solutions. And Albrecht Incorporated and the Albrecht family is invested in this community and has been for over 100 years. And there's not going to be a developer who's going to work harder. Now, you may have your own feelings about that, but that's the truth. So what we need to ask now is, where do we go next? How do we move this project forward? What is going to work? We have some co-op ideas. We've had a lot of creative suggestions about partnerships and nonprofits and what is going to work, what is going to make Highland Square better going forward. That's the question.
Why don't you widen your search?
I'm sorry?
Widen your search. I don't know how. The 19 grocery stores that you contacted, I believe you did. Okay, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'm not into conspiracy. I want to move forward. Okay.
Okay.
And the main reason why I want to move forward because I'm seeing seniors who used to walk to the grocery store, they can't walk to the grocery store anymore.
That's true. Absolutely, Matt.
Now that's everybody has their own section of the population that they have the empathy for. I guess for me it's the seniors. But I feel like this, I don't know how wide has your search been? Okay. Do a national search. I don't think you have to go to China.
Yeah, and I think that kind of broad search is what has been done. To give you, we have talked to everyone that we can think of. Albrecht Incorporated has about a grocery operator. The city has. There was a broker involved who was contacting people. There aren't a limitless number of grocery operators in the world.
I'm really
and the numbers that are in this area and willing to make the financial investment, especially at this time in these economic situations, this economic crisis, it's a struggle to find someone who's willing to do that, no matter how broad our search is, and the search has been very broad.
We're curious in this corner about what the result was when you approached Philip Neighbors and Margaret Neighbors. They live around here. What happened with the mustard seed?
Yeah, there were a number of discussions with the mustard seed.
And what happened?
And they have not been interested. They've not moved into the store. They've not
why
been.
Is that? Well, why is that?
Yeah, we want to know why.
Do you have any information about that?
They have a lot of other investments going right now, and Philip's looking to put his money elsewhere, and right now they'd rather trump up the Solon store rather than open up a whole new operation. It's
So
not, I mean, they're about community to a certain extent, but they're business people too. Right now, they have 2 successful businesses going.
Yeah, well, when I talked to Philip,
Mhm.
he was very interested in moving here.
Yes, he was.
And there were some meetings with the mayor, and there was a real effort to try and make it work. And there isn't anybody who's more flexible or creative in his thinking when it comes to business. So I'd like to know what happened.
I would too.
I'd like to know in each of these cases where there were serious meetings, what happened? Why does it always fall through? You made a great effort to reach out to them. There was a number of people who were very serious about it, but now the ball always dropped. Why is that?
Yeah, I think Phil Neighbors would be the best person to answer that question, but I'll take a stab at it in his absence. I think he made an assessment of the dollar demand in this location for his type of store and decided it wasn't going to be something that was feasible.
What about the other stores where there was meetings and serious discussions? Not just that you talked to 19, but 3 or 4. Why did it always fall through?
Well, the other one we had serious conversations with was Freshway down in the valley, and I know Ron doesn't see eye to eye with me on that one, but I think the same assessment was made, that the dollar demand just wasn't there, especially without subsidy. As Ron mentioned, he's looking for a low interest loan from the city. Apparently, as Adela mentioned, he didn't make any applications for that loan.
He asked
But he was turned down before he
he asked you about it, and you said that he was getting ahead of himself. Those are his words to me. They're in quotations on
Well,
the paper.
regardless, I'm ready, if he's,
I'll get into a little bit of the specifics there. We actually set up meetings with Bob Bowdy and different bankers through our banking relationships. I try to help them get a loan. We're not a bank. We don't make loans. We do make investments in real estate, and we were willing to do that if we could get all the components to line up for a Freshway deal. That just didn't work out, and it wasn't our piece of the puzzle that didn't align. It was something else that fell through either in his assessment of the market area and the demand,
And
or
kind of
something
take the
else.
heat off of you a little bit for this. At that time, I know the city wasn't completely on board with kind of helping to move the process along with some dollars. Now they seem to be more on board, and we seem to have we're starting to kind of formulate a package here of what it's going to cost, how big the store is going to be. There's new concepts for how it's going to approach.
Right.
And there were some last week. Some people mentioned to you a list of people that were not on this list that you missed. Kriegers, I know there are a few others. And now that you have kind of a new package of information, new offerings that they didn't have back when we were talking to the Bowdies, can you put that together and take it to them, or have you made any phone calls since 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah, I've had meetings with different people that have asked me to meet based off of the last forum. I've had phone conversations and trade emails back and forth. I've done that stuff. We're on board with trying to find a grocery operator, and we're not the entity that provides that type of subsidy.
Sure.
Taxpayer dollars. I mean, we don't obviously have purse strings on that. That's a city issue, but we're willing to work. In concert with everybody to try to find a grocery outlet.
We have Marco Somerville on videotape saying the city wants a grocery store. We have a representative of the mayor saying she's willing to sell things out of her trunk of her car. That was the video too. I will cut that video together for you to take to the grocery store. What can we do
The mayor said in
to make your package better for grocery stores?
The mayor said in his State of the City address that he's interested in the Highland Square grocery store. And we continue our conversations with this city, prior to the last forum and since then, to try to figure out something that we can do to attract a grocery store. This is an ongoing thing. We're still trying to find somebody to operate. So those things that you're suggesting, those are ongoing, and we haven't given up.
We have a community that's willing to contribute, and I'm willing to contribute, and the city's willing to contribute, and so when do we stop talking about it and just start doing it?